This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, my name is Logan Pelfrey, here with Nolan Frame. Would you like to give us some information about yourself?
Hello, I'm a current student at Purdue University, and I'm studying adaptations, mutations, natural selection, and biodiversity, and how they affect us.
All right, let's start the interview. The first question I have for you is, what is an adaptation, and can you explain?
An adaptation is any variation that aids an organism's chances of survival in its environment. Two examples of adaptations are mimicry, an adaptation that enables one species to resemble another species, and camouflage, an adaptation that enables species to blend with their surroundings. They can take many generations to fully develop.
All right, very good. What are some examples and evidence of an adaptation? Give 3.
An example of an adaptation is the wood frog freezes its own body in the winter. It stops breathing and the heart stops beating. Their bodies produce a special antifreeze substance that prevents their body from freezing. The fennec fox has large ears for 2 purposes. It's great because it helps the fennec fox hear bugs underground that it eats, and their ears are also loaded with blood vessels, helping it survive in the desert. A kangaroo can cool itself with a spit bath. Since kangaroos lack regular sweat glands when they lick their legs, a special network of blood vessels allows them to reduce their body temperatures quickly.
Wow, very good. Those are some good examples. My third question I have is a mutation, and can you explain?
A mutation is a change in a DNA sequence. Restart that. Oh my.
My third question is, what is a mutation, and can you explain and elaborate on that?
A mutation is a change in a DNA sequence. They can occur because of DNA copying mistakes. Mutations are very uncommon and humans have no control over them. When it comes to artificial selection, a human cannot control if a mutation will occur or not. A mutation can have a positive or negative result on the organism.
Very good. What are some examples and evidence of a mutation? Can you give 3 examples?
An example of a mutation that can happen to humans or animals is albinism. Albinism is a genetic defect, and it generally means the baby was born all white, meanwhile their parents had no white traits. Some mutations that can occur in humans are extra limbs, extra toes and fingers, conjoined twins, and color blindness. These can occur when DNA does not copy fully, copies more than once, or there is some other issue in creating the baby. An animal mutation can be beneficial to their species because it can help them produce offspring and start giving birth to more and more organisms that have that beneficial adaptation.
Wow, very good and thorough.
Hello, my name is Nolan Frame and I'm here with Logan Pelfrey. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am a current OSU student studying adaptations, mutations, natural selection, and biodiversity.
Thanks, Logan. Can you please explain and elaborate what is a natural selection?
Natural selection is the process where organisms that are better adapted to their environment tend to survive and produce more offspring. Natural selection is also the process through which populations of living organisms adapt and change. Individuals in a population are naturally variable, which means that they are all different in some ways. This variation means that some individuals have traits better suited to the environment than others. There is also an artificial selection, which occurs quicker due to humans picking which individuals stay and which ones leave.
Alright, good job, Logan. Can you please give me 3 examples and evidence of natural selection?
Yes, one example of natural selection is the giraffe. In an ecosystem, some giraffes have long necks and others have short ones. If something caused low shrubs to die out, the giraffes with short necks would not get enough food and eventually die off. After a few generations, all the giraffes would have long necks. Another example of natural selection is the Galapagos. Galapagos finches all have different types of beaks. During a drought, the finches with the larger beaks survived better than those with smaller beaks. During the rainy times, more small seeds were produced and the finches were with smaller beaks managed better. There's also a species of rats. The rats live in a certain type of tree with the branches evenly spaced. Smaller rats could not reach from branch to branch, and larger rats would break the branches and fall. Pretty quick after, all the rats were the right size for the tree branches.
Okay, Logan. Can you please explain what biodiversity is?
Biodiversity is a variation of life within a given ecosystem, biome, or for the entire Earth. Biodiversity includes all living things, including plants, animals, and microorganisms, and their unique characteristics. There are different types of diversity, such as ecosystem diversity, species diversity, and genetic diversity. Biodiversity is important because ecosystems depend on the combined contributions and interactions of individual organisms within them. The loss of any species can prevent that ecosystem from operating normally.
Okay, Logan, can you please now give me 3 examples of biodiversity?
An example of genetic diversity is humans have different eye and skin colors, hair textures, reactions to pollutants, heights, hormone levels, and others. We are the same species but have genetic variations that make us diverse. An example of ecosystem diversity is the different biomes and ecosystems across the Earth. Some biomes are deserts, forests, grasslands, wetlands, and oceans. An example of species diversity is when communities have the same species but one has more than the other. It has a better species richness. Our last question for you, Nolan, is how do all adaptations, mutations, natural selection, and biodiversity relate or connect to each other?
Mutations and natural selections both cause adaptations. Mutations can cause instant adaptations, while natural selection can take up to several generations. Adaptations can be passed down through generations that can help a species thrive in its environment. It can help an ecosystem have more biodiversity, which makes it easier for individual species and organisms to survive and thrive.
This is CNN Breaking News.